Hi, before you get married, before you say I do, it can be tricky to know how much about finances you're supposed to talk about or how much to ask. Is it considered rude? Is it private? Is it your business? Do you keep it off the table until you say I do? I'm going to give you 4 key questions that every person should ask their partner before they say I do. Hi, my name's Olivia. I'm passionate about helping you understand what relational trauma is so that you can prevent it, avoid it, get out of it if you have to, and ultimately move on with your life. So today I'm going to give you 4 key questions that every person should ask their partner and know and see the answers for themselves before they say I do. All of this is coming from my book, Do I? I'll put the link in the description. You can find it on Amazon. This is going to start on page 45. So few things to talk about finances really quick before we move on. First of all, finances impact a couple almost in every avenue of their lives. Whatever way you're looking at your present and your future, it's all going to be totally impacted by finances down every avenue. So it's vital that you understand what you're saying I do too, because it ties you emotionally. It's going to tie you mentally. It's also going to bind you legally to the other person. So you need to know how this person is with their money, how they are with their finances, what they're bringing into the marriage in terms of what do they have with debts, what do they have that's outstanding. Also, how do they spend their money and what are some of their goals? So today is 4 key questions. It's also important to remember not everyone is proud of where they're at financially. Some people had extenuating circumstances that they had no choice, but they had to sign up for financial decisions that they're still paying for. Well, you would need to know that, not so that you can shame them or necessarily not get married, but you at least need to know what you're making a decision to. What are you agreeing to? So looking at their finances. Here's another thing. Just like in business, you would not want to just take someone's word about a company or someone's word about inventory or what they have in their accounts or investments before you sign up for a business agreement. It's the same with marriage. So it's not wrong. In fact, I would say it is imperative that you ask to see their financial information. So we're going to walk through some specific areas that you're going to want to talk about with your partner and you're going to want to see for yourself. So if it's a credit report, you want to see the credit report, not just have them tell you what's on their credit report or what their score is. You actually need to see it for yourself. So think of this as good business. In a good business, you have lots of talks about finances. You set financial goals. In an abusive relationship, money is used as a tool to control. In a good relationship, in a healthy marriage, money is used as a tool to meet the couple's shared goals. So you want to make sure that you're goal-oriented in terms of your finances in your marriage for your future. That helps set you up for a successful marriage. It helps you make better decisions because you know the vision you both have. So we're going to jump in. These questions are going to start on page 48. Okay, no, it's 47. Okay, so on 47, the first question is, how much do each of you have in your bank account right now? So remember, this is not what someone's going to tell you. You're actually, when you do this exercise, you will sit down. Most people have an app that has their bank account, or you can log in online. So right then you would get your stuff and you would log in and you would show the other person. This is not what I'm going to tell you is in my bank account. What actually is in my bank account? So this would be checking, savings, and investments. You would actually need to show each other all of your accounts. So this would be a deal breaker for me if someone refused. So if someone says, don't you trust me? I would say, well, don't you trust me to show me? Right? I can flip that right back on you. So it's not just about trust. It's not just about love. It's not about any of those things. It's about, no, I'm signing up to this legally. I want to be able to see what it is you have, and I need to be able to be in a place where I can show you what I have. And again, remember, we want to be kind with each other. We wouldn't want to shame each other. But we do want to take a look at it and decide, ooh, is this something that I'm willing to sign up for? If you've had messy finances and you haven't cleaned them up yet, I'm not sure I'm ready to marry you until that happens. Or is this how you always do your finances? Or what happened? What happened to you? How did you get here? Because there are things that happen in life. It's just, again, you want to make sure you know what that is before you say I do. That's your right. That's not a privilege. That's not something that you hope. That's something that this has to happen for me to move forward. Okay, so that was the first one. All of the accounts, savings, checking, investment, however many you have, be able to show each other those. So again, this is not something we're telling each other. This is something we are showing each other. Okay, so here's number 2. How much debt do you owe? So this would be anything that could be in collections as well as current debts. If there's mortgages, if there's car loans, it could be personal loans to family members. So maybe that's not going to be on paper, right? But it's asking, do you owe your family any money? Do you owe your parents money? Do you owe aunts and uncles or siblings? Do you owe grandparents money? Any debt that you have. This is also the time that I would ask for credit reports. So you both would pull your credit reports and you would both show each other your credit reports. That's going to show any outstanding debts, any liens, anything that is financially hanging out there over this person's head or over your head, and then you can talk about it. So again, these are not deal breakers, but they could be if you find something that you weren't aware of. And also, I would say it's a deal breaker if that person refuses to show you. Remember, same thing with the company. If I'm going to purchase a company or invest in a company and they're putting a lot of pressure on me to take their word for it, and then they make it about trust and don't I like them, has nothing to do with that. That would just be foolish for me to go off someone's word and purchase a company, right, that I'm going to be legally tied to and responsible for. So it's the same financially with marriage. I want to be able to see it, and you have every right to see mine too if you're signing up for me, if you're signing up with me. It's always shocking how little finances are discussed before a couple gets married, and also how little finances are discussed during marriage. There are many people who don't know how many bank accounts their spouse has, how much credit card debt their spouse has, how their spouse is spending the money. So that to me is really pretty closely related to the stability of the marriage. So the more we put on the table, the more we're open, the more we're making decisions as a couple, the more solid our foundation tends to be. So it's important that going into marriage, you get in the habit, this is how we deal with money. It's just not emotional. It's just the finances, and we put it on the table and we make decisions together, and we're both looking at it and being as open and honest and transparent as we can be with it. Okay, so after you do the credit report, you talk about any outstanding debts you have. And I am sorry, if you're the one that is not proud of where you are financially, that's still not something to hide. So you have to trust that this person is going to love you and understand, and have a really candid conversation, a really honest conversation about what are we going to do from here? What are you planning to do from here? So the next one is, how much do you take from your job? How much do you make from your job? So this is where we would produce pay stubs. This is where still, we're not just taking each other's word for it. We're going to show, here's my deposit from my work, right? So if you get direct deposit, which I know lots of people do, then we would just pull up our bank account and you would go through and show your deposits. If you have pay stubs, this is where you would get your pay stubs and you would show your partner your pay stubs. So this is not just dating. If you are dating someone and it's early on, I would say do not share this information. This is still private information. But if you're at a place where you are engaged and you're planning a wedding, you are about to get married, or you've dated to the point that you're about to be engaged, then this is where I would start to share this information. So just in dating, I would say no. That's still your private business. They're not financially tying up anything with you. So I would not share that. But if you're getting married, you are going to be legally binding each other to each other, and that includes financial responsibilities. So Absolutely, if you're engaged, about to get married, you're trying to make that decision, or you're moving forward in that direction, you need to know these things. The deeper you are, the harder it is to pull out, but still not too late. Okay, here's another one. This is after you're showing your pay stubs or you're looking at the bank deposits that you've had from your company. The last one we have, number 4. If there are outstanding loans or debts, what's your plan for paying those off? So are these debts going to be brought into the marriage? So if you have, student loans is a big one. If you have a big old fat student loan balance, that's probably going to be carried into the marriage. And then the conversation is, how are we looking at that in the marriage? Is this something that you're expecting that I'm just going to take out of my paycheck? Is this something we're going to tackle together? Going to use the money into a pot, right? So how are you expecting, both of you expecting this debt to be paid off? That could also be things like vehicles, truly any old credit card balances, personal loans, family loans, any of those things. How are we both assuming these are going to be paid off, and do we like the way that is? Maybe that's a larger conversation, and then you can come up with a plan together. But the point is letting each other know, this is what I'm expecting. Like, this is your debt, so I'm just expecting like you're going to get another job and pay that off. Or if we're married, then I'm looking at as my debt too, and I'm happy to put our money in a pile and just tackle it as fast as we can so we can move on with our goals. However you're planning to pay that down, that's a conversation you want to have with each other before you say I do. Because if you do not like your partner's plan, or you're noticing a pattern, then I would hit pause on your wedding and maybe not even get married. It just depends. But the point is, remember, prevention. So if there is something in there that you don't like, or you don't like the way they talk about money, you don't like the way they won't talk about money, you don't like how they are with their money, you have your concerns, and they are fine with it, and they're not saying any reason to change, then you really want to think about that before you say I do. These are reasons we have these conversations before we get married. Remember, it's better to prevent a marriage that's going to fail than to be trapped in a failing marriage and trying to get out of it. So prevention is key here. So you want to have your eyes wide open. You want to use the logical part of your brain and try to make a decision that is best for you and also for your partner. Okay, so if there is debt, is that expected that one person's going to pay it off, or that you both are going to tackle it together? Again, all of this comes from You can find it on Amazon. I'll leave a link in the book. With finances, if you are currently married, then this is still a conversation you could have. If you realize, money is always an ongoing problem, we never talk about it, you could use these same questions and tackle that portion of your marriage together. So you could show your pay stubs. There are married couples who don't even know what their spouse makes. It's hard to get on a plan, be on the same page, make any type of goals financially together when you have no idea how much money is coming into your home. Also, you have no idea where the money is really going. So if you're like, oh, I wish that we would have these talks, you could still use these same exact questions and go through it. Part 2 that we're going to talk about next is going to talk about how to set some goals as a financial couple, or some financial goals as a couple. So I'm not a financial planner. I am a therapist, even though this is not counseling. These are just areas that I see over and over married people struggle in. And some of these could be prevented and avoided by understanding this and just not getting married, or understanding this and having more conversations. So I'm wishing you all the best. Take good care, and I'll see you in the next one.